Good morning, welcome back to the channel. It's May the 2nd. It's a little bit of wind, so if it's too noisy I'll have to do voiceover. But today I'm going to clean out these 3 beds. The one with the asparagus is up right here. And first off, I've got to take the trees out. So that's my first task, and in this video I'm just going to make a short video on how the trees that I have here are doing themselves. I'm going to take them up and repot them in bigger pots that I have in the basement. Okay, so we're in the basement. I drink fresh milk, and I have to buy it at the regular grocery store. So, of course, you open the one end to get your milk out. You can open the other end and then you have a container that's 11 inches deep. Of course, you have to make drainage holes in them. I got my Dremel with a little router bit on it. Four holes on each, one hole on each side like that should be enough for a drainage hole. Put some water in this here earlier, and I didn't mix it up, so there we go. Now I don't know if you noticed, but when I was taking up the trees, some of them came right out of their cups. So now I basically got a bare root tree here. And I'm going to let them grow on a little bit more in this. And of course I can put this one directly back outside. As of yet, I think the little buds right there, those couple, are starting to enlarge. But on this one, he seems to be still dormant. This is one of the ones further up, and the buds on this one are starting to swell, so they're just coming out of dormancy. But strangely enough, I had this one, it was laying over, and you see it's actually growing leaves. These are all Russian mulberry. Now the question is, with this root ball down here, can I get it out of the cup? Because if I can, then I can reuse the cup. It's something, if you can avoid destroying it, you should, and keep reusing those type of things as much as possible. I'll take those couple weeds off of there, not that it really matters. What I'm going to do this time is throw a bit in the bottom. And then pack it up to either side so I can get those roots down there. There, that's 2 planted in, let's see what the size exactly is. We've got 4 inches square by 11 inches deep. I'm just planting away now off camera, but what I wanted to point out was that see, when you take a plant out of its container, when you're transplanting it, it can stay in the soil with the roots all going through the soil like this. Now these roots down here, they'll be squished. They're not going to do the plant a lot of good right away. Some, and roots will grow out from this, but they will be squished together now, and that taproot will be slightly damaged. They are still very small, and they are just barely starting to come out of dormancy, so it should be okay. When they get bigger now, and I'm moving them out of these containers, then I will have just the 1 block of soil with the multiple roots holding it together. So that transplant will not be as bad as this one. But that's where you get your transplant shock a lot of times. See, you disturb the roots, you damage the roots. Some people, they say damaging the roots encourages root growth. I've found that disturbing the roots when you're transplanting gives a greater transplant shock. Okay, so here's the Russian mulberry. There were 17 of them. So 3 rows of 5 and 2 out here. And see, I cut little pieces of board like this on my bandsaw, and that's what I use for tags. It's like using popsicle sticks, except for I can make my own. I'm going to put these back in the wheelbarrow now and bring them out. I'll get the trees from the other bed and I will come back in, and then I'll show you what I got. Okay, in the other bed it was only half full. These here 7 here are birch leaf pear. They're not starting to bud yet. They didn't grow very big last year, but they should grow once they get going, grow well in my climate. but being that they don't have many roots, they'll pot up into the other planters just fine. This is a green gauge. I don't see it starting to grow yet, but I took the seeds from some green gauge plums that I got in Grand Falls. The tree is growing in Grand Falls, so it will grow. I only got one of the trees to sprout. This is one I put the seeds in the ground in one of those 40 cell flats. Well, not in the ground. I put them in soil in a 40 cell flat, and I put them outside under mulch for the winter. And I only got one tree to grow out of it. My first attempt at growing Siberian pea shrub, I did the same thing. Now this one, just a minute. Okay, I took the wide angle adapter off so that I can give you a close-up view. You can see now that it's growing, hopefully. And so that one has started just as much, actually a little more, than what the Russian mulberry was. I only have one Siberian pea shrub so far. So as I was potting up the birch leaf pear, I noticed, if we can get a good shot of it, that they are starting to sprout. See that little live red bud? So they're still just coming along, and the very top one is starting to open up. Same thing with this one over here, and I have another one that looks like that. This is the root structure went on the green gauge in the cup. There was a little bit out the bottom, but a lot of it just stayed inside the cup. And now this is the Siberian pea shrub. Let's see what that's like. See, the roots all stayed inside the cup, but it does have nice roots. This is hard here though, see? How it went down, and it seems like the main root curled back up and it came over here, and then it went down again. They'll do just fine. What I want to do now, since I got these cups emptied and they're reusable, the ones that are getting larger, this is the kiwi vines. You see, this one has its second leaf. So any of these larger ones, I want to take out now and put in their individual cups, and then of course put the thing back. I'm counting a possible 46 here now. All potted up, I add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 15 Bower kiwi that add its first true leaves, and some of them add 2 true leaves. I put here. I've got to cut some more wood so that I can make the last 5 labels. These, the onions are going out this week, so they're not coming back in here. I'm going to put them on the shelf for now. I will harden these off and have them growing outside when all the other plants out there, the trees, have their leaves fully out. Until then, they will remain in here. So here's where I've got them planted. That's the little shed. Got them placed, I should say. So I have a bunch of curtains of trees growing placed all out here, and as the trees get bigger, of course, I can space them out. This is my plan for now. I will probably put the wood chips or some other mulch around them. If I put them out when they're small, the hares were getting them. Apparently this year there's the population of the snowshoe hares is in their crash year. There was very few caught around here this winter, the hunters. So I might have a reprieve for maybe 3 years now. But at any rate, if any of you are growing trees, say making a nursery, growing trees to sell or something, you can let me know if this is a good idea. And if not, if you want to follow along and watch these trees grow, make sure you're subscribed, because I will be giving updates on these quite a few times throughout the year, in every year going forward.